Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Customizing Culture, the Heat Press Nation podcast. I'm your host. My name is Jared Barbosa. I'm super excited to be here with our special guest, Courtney from the Crafty Brick. Courtney, how you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me so much.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're busy. You got a lot going on. So we're super stoked to have you here. And then for our listeners, our viewers who don't know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself?
So, I am Courtney. I am the owner of the Crafty Brick. And basically, what I do is share my knowledge of crafting and creating things. I am a stay-at-home mom, craftpreneur. I'm doing lots of things, but I love to create reels and fun videos. I like to dance. So, you can always catch me doing tutorials on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, stuff like that.
Very cool. So why don't we take people kind of through your journey? Because, you're kicking butt on the socials, kicking butt with your business, but you haven't always been kicking butt, right? Everybody has to start somewhere. So
Oh my gosh.
where did your journey kind of start as it pertains to like crafting? Or let me ask you this, sorry. What came first, crafting or the social media?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so just to be totally honest, social media is so not my thing. That is not where I find like
Okay.
comfort. No, crazy. Okay, so prior to doing like starting this, the Crafty Brick, I was a personal trainer, and I'm telling you, I was just like trying so hard with my social media, trying to grow my channel. It took me 3 years to get to 1,000 followers. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, it's so slow. I just couldn't figure it out. And I think part of the problem was because personal training it's not really what brought me joy. I didn't really
Mm,
like it. And I feel like that showed. Like, not that I wasn't, good at what I was doing, but I didn't love it. But I
right.
love crafting, and I feel like it just comes off differently. And
Mhm.
I've just been more successful, but like with
Your joy kind of
crafting,
comes through the camera with
I think
crafting.
I think it does because
Yeah.
it's just natural. I just love it, and I'm just sharing stuff that I love. So I think it works out better for me. So I wasn't the crafting certainly came first. It's just something I've always done. I love to do DIYs around the house, and I've always been like a room parent for my kids' class. So I would always go, above and beyond on what was
Yeah.
expected because I always wanted to make fun things and have fun stuff at the party. So crafting has just always been part of me, but the social media just never really came naturally to me because I'm also a very private person. So it's
Mhm.
just like, sharing so much on social media was challenging for me. But
Got it.
I don't know, I feel like I've kind of found a balance of sharing what I feel like sharing and, not being totally having everything out there.
Right. So you're working as a personal trainer. When did you kind of make the switch, or are you still doing both personal training and crafting?
I do not do personal training anymore at all.
Okay.
No.
So
Like
when did the switch come around?
it's so interesting my story from that. Like basically I started personal training because I was a stay-at-home mom. I was going to the gym. I was super bored and I was like, "Hey, I need a goal. I need something to motivate me to
Mm.
do something different and something that's kind of for myself." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to enter a bodybuilding competition." And so I did, and I really started liking working out. And then while I was at the gym, people would be asking me questions about working out and stuff. I'm like, "Hey, maybe I should do personal training. That'd be kind of cool." So I had zero background in personal training, and I started studying for this test and just kind of threw myself into doing
Okay.
that. And
Sorry. Let me interrupt you real quick. There's a test.
oh yeah,
Okay.
like big
See, that's
time.
that's how you know how dumb I am, right? I thought literally like if you had a certain amount of muscles, then that's your qualifications. Okay. Sorry. I had to.
Oh my gosh.
I had to
No,
ask
you got
that.
to get certified.
Oh,
So
crazy. Okay.
I spent like 4 months studying for this test and
Wow.
practicing, and
Hmm.
yeah. So it's a process. So I did that, passed the test, became a personal trainer, did that for 8 years, 7 years.
Oh.
And I just realized that I didn't like it. I know, Jared, this is the crazy part. I was like a personal trainer that didn't really like to work out. Like, I'm like, this is, I'm like, what am I doing? I don't even enjoy this. Like, I loved my clients. I loved to, like, my biggest thing that I did was a group class at the park. So we would drop the
Hmm.
kids at school, moms would come over to the park and I would teach a class a few times a week. So that was a lot of what I did, and it was fun. But when I started thinking about it more, I'm like, this is not really what I want to do. And I wasn't quite sure what it was that I wanted to do.
Mhm.
All during personal training on the weekends, I was doing DIY. I was still doing stuff for the classroom, and I was still doing all this crafty stuff. So I decided I'm going to not do personal training anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to take a break and figure it out. So I took a few months and I'm like, what do I really like to do? And my husband was like, why don't you try and sell these things that you're always making? And I'm
Mhm.
like, sell it? Like, nobody's going to buy my stuff. How can I sell this stuff? I don't know. So I was super nervous. And then I just decided, all right, I'm going to try it. So I opened an Etsy store, started selling t-shirts and mugs and earrings and stuff. And then COVID happened and it
Okay.
blew up. It like blew, like I started selling face masks and because people were
Oh,
shopping.
yeah. So that's so
So
funny how there's some businesses, COVID comes around, wipes them out. There's other businesses that are just in position to really just take off. So about
right. And I
how long was your
started in
I'm sorry.
September. I started in
Okay. I
September
was
of
gonna ask.
2019
Hmm.
and then COVID was March. So it really wasn't too long after starting the business that COVID happened.
Yeah.
And then I started selling all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I like this. This is, I can do this.
You liked it more than personal training?
Yes, 100% I did. And it was just fun. Like
Hmm.
I felt like I'm making all this stuff. This is so fun to do every day. And I'm like, I can't believe this is my job. I'm like just making stuff every day. So I really liked it.
Yeah. So you're making stuff, you're selling, business is taking off. At what point now in this process are you saying, hey, this isn't hard enough? Let me add the difficulty of social media to everything.
Oh my gosh. Well, what's interesting is I started out, I obviously had an Instagram page. I was
Hmm.
posting stuff. I was never on camera. And I mean, and you've
Hmm.
seen my page. I'm on camera all the time. But when I started, you would see my hands making stuff. You would see pictures of things. I just never did anything because I wasn't really comfortable on camera. Um, and then Reels hit. And
Hmm.
a friend of mine was like, hey, we should do like a little TikTok dance. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? I don't know about that. And she's like, let's just try it. It'll be so much fun. So we did it. We were in Vegas. It was a girls' trip for the weekend, and we made two little TikTok videos. It was so much fun. I'm like, wow, that was fun. I came back from that trip and I started posting some videos, like just like, the voiceover videos
Hmm.
on my channel. And I was able to figure out how to do voiceovers and bring them into the craft world. So make them still pertain to my niche, but
Hmm.
still kind of follow some of the trends. And I just had a ball doing it. So I just started doing that, and then the videos started taking off. People were like really reacting to them, and I'm like, I'm having even more fun than I was before. So
Yeah.
then I started doing just showing myself all the time and just participating and doing whatever I kind of felt like doing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how the social media started. A friend kind of pushed me into it, and then I tried it and really liked it.
Man, I love it because, so many times people can get like locked into just the grind. And there's nothing wrong with the grind. The grind puts food on the table. The grind keeps the, shelter over your head. But at a certain point, it's like, and I like how you said it. You just at a point where like, man, I just don't really like doing this.
I don't
Uh,
really like doing
yeah.
this.
And
I had a picture hanging up in my kitchen, and it was like, life is a, what was it? Is a work of art. If you don't like it, if you don't like the picture, paint over it. And
oh, that's so
I
good.
swear there was just a definitive moment. And I had been going through all these emotions of, I don't know what I want to do. I'm not really happy right now. I don't really like what I'm doing. And I saw that picture. It was hanging over the picture of my three kids. It was in the kitchen. And I saw that and I'm like, I made that. I feel that. I'm like, why am I not doing that? Why don't I paint over this picture and start over? And I also felt at that moment, I saw my kids' pictures there, and I'm like, I don't want them to ever feel like they have to be stuck. So
Mhm.
I want them to know, even if you've been doing it a long time, and even if everybody thinks you're great at it, and even if everybody thinks you should do it, you cannot do it, and you can do something else. So that was really important to me. And at that moment was when I decided I'm not going to do personal training anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I knew I wasn't going to do personal training anymore. And I'm like, I'm going to close. And it had kind of dwindled, like things had switched around with the moms in the group. The classes were kind of dwindling down. At that point, I only had 2 personal training clients. So I think it was just kind of moving in that direction anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out great. And then that's when I was just like, I'm gonna do something else.
That's awesome.
I don't want to be in a box.
Yeah, it sounds like perfect timing. And what's cool is like, I think your willingness to try new stuff, you know, it sounds like, so now I get it. Like now I feel like I'm like, okay, that explains so much as far as like your channel. Cause you try a lot of stuff, even within like crafting and creating, like you try a lot of stuff. You do like sublimation, t-shirts. Like, can you kind of take us like down the list of like maybe your top 5 products?
My top 5
or 10 or
that I really like
100,
to make.
I don't know.
Sublimation is definitely at the top of my list. I just love all the things you can do with it. So it's hard. Like sublimation is top, but I feel like that like so many things are in that, like the t-shirts
hundreds,
and the tumblers.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I do mostly.
Okay, so sublimation.
Sublimation is my top, but I dabble in all kinds of stuff. So like I do love to do DIY stuff. So like all the power tools that we have in our house, they're mine. My husband sometimes gets me power tools for like birthday or Valentine's Day because I love them. I love to build stuff.
That's awesome.
And there's so many things that don't work out right. Like I have messed up so many things, but I just keep trying because I feel like it's going to work out, or maybe it doesn't work out, and maybe I have to like pivot and do something different, but I'm going to try and at least find out if it works out. So I do like to try things.
What's been one of your most expensive just fails? Like, oh, I can't believe I bought this and it just didn't work out.
And it did not work out. I can't even think that. I think that's maybe why I'm like, it's okay if it fails. I've never had like a major thing.
Okay,
maybe
good.
a couple $100, but that's not like terrible.
Yeah.
You know, like I messed up on an order one time, and that was like a few $100 order mess up, and that was quite annoying. But I broke my heat press because I didn't read the directions. I have a problem with reading directions sometimes. I just like to jump in, and I'm just like, I'm just going to try it. Directions, they're sitting over there.
Yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't work out. Like, you should read. My husband's like, did you read the directions? I'm like, no, I didn't. I just tried it. Like,
dude, I just had that. I was building this little, because my son just turned 1, right? And I was building his little wagon for him. And I mounted the way it is, like you have to mount the handle with the wheels, right? I just put on the wheels and the handle was left over, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just pop the wheels off and no big deal. The way that this stupid radio flyer, if you're watching, dude, chill. Chill, because like I had to like to remove and pop off the wheels. Like I'm there. It took me like 25 minutes to just finagle the stupid wheels off so I could remount the handle and put everything. And so now one of the wheels is all jacked up from my screwdriver marks of jabbing it. And yeah, so
if I had just read the directions.
Oh yeah. So now I try to read the directions as much as possible.
You know what? I just got a new table last week, and I actually put this table together twice. And the other 2 times,
done that? Yep.
But I mean, I've done them 2 times. I have 3 of the same table in my office. The first time I did it, I put it together wrong. I had to take the legs off, redo it. They're heavy legs. I have to bolt. It was annoying. So I'm like, this time I got it. I'm about to read these directions. I am putting this thing together correctly. Do you know I still did it wrong? And I'm like, see, I read the directions and I still do it wrong. I'm like, so I ended up having to take the legs off. But luckily I realized it after just putting on the first set. But so it was not as bad as the last time. But yeah, I struggle with fine details.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so to kind of bring it back here to your willingness to just try new stuff. You like trying new stuff. You like trying different stuff. And so you have a few really
Yes.
cool comparison videos. What's kind of the thought process or the inspiration behind that? Like what makes you like to compare things like that?
Because I feel like in my mind that's how my mind works. I want to know, how does it compare to these other things? Is it faster? Is it more accurate? Is it better? I just want to know. And I feel like other people might want to know too. And other people might not have all the tools. So they
Right.
might not have them to compare. So I'm like, if I have it, I want to compare it because the competitor in me, I'm like, I need to know which one is better. But a
Yeah.
lot of times it's not necessarily which one is better, but it's like which one's better for you. Because I feel like
Exactly.
it's different. It really
Hmm.
is different. What matters the most to you, for like what matters to me might not matter as much to you. So I like to, I do have some favorites of things, but I try not to really portray that in my comparison videos. I just want to give y'all like the facts. Here's what happened in each of these things that I did. You take with that what you want and, decide what you want to, which one you like the best.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something really important that a lot of people miss, because I do it when when I'm about to spend more than $2 on anything. I'm going on YouTube, I'm comparing things. And then one thing that I always have to just keep at the front of my mind is like, look, this person, maybe it's a 2% bias, maybe it's a 92% bias, but there's like, you got to just take the information for what it is, like presented in front of you. I think you do a really great job of eliminating your personal bias, by the way. So props on that.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
and I think that's very important. And if anybody watching, if after this you're gonna go compare some things on YouTube, just remember, the person reviewing it, if they're not Courtney, they're probably, there's probably some heat press emotional baggage behind that video
Right?
that's making them hate on a certain thing or so. I like to get as much information as possible. And that's why I like your comparison videos. Like they're really cool. So props on that for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to make sure.
Do you do that with everything? And this, I just got to ask, like, are you comparing like, oh man, which air fryer do I need? Like, do you do that with other stuff around the house?
Well, if I have multiple, yeah. I mean, a
Okay.
lot,
Okay.
some
Got
of
it.
stuff in the house, I can't really compare it. But
Oh, sorry. Do you search it like, or when you're buying something new for the house, do you search comparison videos
oh
too?
yes, no, I search. Well, what's interesting is I'm really not a video person. So I know a lot of people go straight to
Mhm.
YouTube, and I think that's one of my challenges with my YouTube channel is I don't go to YouTube. That's not my first spot.
Really? Oh, that's
It
interesting.
really, it
Hmm.
really is not. I will go to where will I go? I just want to see a chart. Like I
Hmm.
want to go to a blog post with a chart and I want all the stuff written out and I want to
Nice.
see it like that. That's how I like to look at stuff. So it's because maybe the ADD. I don't want to watch through the whole thing. I want to
Got
skip and get to what I want,
it.
like quick. Like give me the information right now, like quick. So that's just how my mind works. I know it's different than a lot of other people's, but yeah, I just want to get to it and then I'm like, okay, that's the one I want. And then I decide and I don't go back and forth and I don't like there's no like buyer's remorse. I'm just like,
Hmm.
that's it. Once I
There we
figure it
go.
out, I'm done.
Very cool. Now, to kind of change gears a little bit here, you mentioned that you're a stay at home mother of three, and that like the fact that you get to stay home and run your business. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm very jealous. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who I don't know if jealous is the right word, but like, man, like I want that. I feel like honestly, when I hear people working, being able to stay at home and add income to their family, like, dude, that's the dream for me. So can you touch on that a little bit? Like, what is being able to stay at home? Was that kind of the main inspiration for your entrepreneurial journey? Is that kind of what inspired you to start the personal training and then the crafting? Like, was it so you could stay at home?
No, I worked in an office prior to my oldest being born. When I became pregnant with him, I was like, I can't go back to work. Like I got to stay home. Like
Hmm.
I just knew right then, and it worked out that we were able to do it with my husband and I. We were able for me to stay home, so I was very happy about that. For many years, I didn't. What did I do? Oh, I was the nursery care person at church. At one point, I was getting a little money from that. And then for that same church, I was the bookkeeper. So it was all from home. So I was just bringing in, like a little extra money here and there,
Hmm.
but it was basically I was home with the kids, and that was my number one. And when they went to school and were, not little anymore, I started to just kind of itch for like something else.
Ah, got it.
I'm just like, oh, like I love staying home. I know that they're still busy and I need to be there after school. So I don't want to go to a job where I can't pick them up from school and still
Hmm.
take them to their activities. But if I could find something to do during the day that kind of fulfilled my entrepreneurial, because I mean, I went to school, I have an MBA, so I did business. I've always been kind of entrepreneurial minded.
Hmm.
So the ideas are always there. But I was just like, what can I do during these hours? This is when I want to work, and I don't
Hmm.
want to work outside of those hours. So that that was personal training, and that's when my daughter was like, I think she was in kindergarten, maybe when I started doing that, maybe preschool. So it's just I had a limited amount of time. That's what I was able to do during that time, and it worked out. And now, I mean, they're in school all the time. The two boys are gone at college now, so I've just got the younger one at home.
You have two college age kids?
I have two college age kids. Yeah.
God bless you. I'm here thinking that they're all like in elementary or something like that. They're all,
Yeah, 20 and 18
God
and then
bless you.
13. So I've been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years. So it's
Hmm.
been a long time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these kids are all about to be out of the house.
Hmm.
Like this is I mean, I put in
Got
a
it.
lot of time. I've loved it. I really have. But I kind of am itching for something for me, Like,
Hmm.
so now is that time because I have more time while they're gone.
That's cool, man. So now, so being able to work from home, like I know for a lot of people, it adds just a lot of flexibility, and it sounds like that's really like one of the main advantages to being not just having a home business, but like killing it at your home business. You know?
It's good because like I'm on the board at my daughter's school and we
Hmm.
have meetings at school and they're like right after drop off. So like I'm like,
Got it.
yeah, I can make it. So I can go to that meeting. There's sometimes meetings right after school at 3 o'clock. And I'm like, yeah, I can be there. So I do really, really like the flexibility.
That's really awesome. I think I know I speak for a lot of people when it's like, yeah, that's the dream for sure.
It is nice. I find it a little bit challenging sometimes though, just because the type of person that I am, um, I want to work a lot. So
Mhm.
I like sometimes it's hard for me to shut it off because my
Okay,
office is right here. So I can always just come right up to my office and do whatever I want. So I'm like, I got to make sure that I'm not doing that all the time. I'm like, when she gets home from
got it.
school, I try to make sure I'm not working. It doesn't always happen that way, but I try to, I try to have some balance. I struggle
Yeah.
sometimes with balance,
So would you
just a
say
bit.
now for me, my balance struggle because I have t-shirt business, I do custom jobs, right? I think my balance struggle is not having enough time to work. And that's
Mm,
me like because of course, I'm here, this is like my regular job, then going home and then having an additional side business after that. So I think for me it's like, oh, are there like enough hours in this day? Am I
mm,
about to stay up till 2 a.m. to finish this
right.
shirt order? And so
And you've
I,
got
I
your
think it's so
son.
cool that there's for people to understand, especially people who haven't yet started their businesses, there's a spectrum.
Hmm.
Balance is there's a big spectrum of balance and I think it's important just finding like how you're saying, like making sure that you're not working, when it's family time. Do you have any tips for people out there who they might be like you, like they're on the spectrum of balance where it's like, oh, I need to make more time for the family. Like, what are your thoughts on that, or what advice do you have to share?
I mean, my advice is I'm not very good at it, but I would say be intentional. Like, I
Mhm.
have
Oh,
to
that's
make
good.
sure that I'm very intentional. Like, I cannot work right now. Like, as much as I would like to just go finish that video or finish that project real quick, I'm not. And I try really hard to not open my computer at night. Like, it's so hard though, because I feel there's so much Jared, like I feel like I've got these goals, like I'm trying to get places like that I'm not there yet. And so I feel like I really want to work hard to get to these certain spots. And it requires a lot of time. So I feel like being intentional, it's all everything that have to do or I'm working towards is still going to be there tomorrow. So
Mhm.
I have to tell myself that, like really say, close your computer and go hang out with your husband, or close your computer and go see what happened with your daughter today. Like I have to tell myself that, or else I could work until 2 in the morning. I could sit on my
Mm.
computer all the time, all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
So
And if I could just add something on there, you're saying close your computer. To all the other dads out there like me, close your phone, doggone.
close your
No, that's such good quality insight. And I appreciate your transparency for that. Not a lot of people out there are willing to share like the struggle. Everybody wants to show like the successes, and it's like, no, it comes at this cost. Like,
It
you
comes at
know,
a cost. It does.
yeah.
And yeah, there's just, I want to go places. I got ideas and I'm trying to reach these levels. And yeah, I don't know. And I feel like, a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, like she's got these 30,000 followers on
Mhm.
Instagram and look, she is killing it. Look at all these orders. Um, I mean, yes, it does look good, but I mean, first of all, so much time to get there.
Yes.
And second, it's not really what I mean, it's not like I can go out here and be on my own. It's still part-time for me. Like
Mhm.
I couldn't like provide for my family everything like right now. So I'm like not where people maybe think I am,
Mhm.
like so I don't know. You just got to take with a grain of salt what you see on social media. Like it
So
can
good.
all look great, but it's not necessarily what it looks like.
Yeah. Man,
Not
that
all
is
the time.
so good. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people think that I own the company. Heat Press Nation. They think that I
Yeah,
that I own,
you
and I'm like, oh, do I wish?
do.
Yeah,
I wish.
and it's
Yeah,
because they see me in all the videos, and they're like, oh yeah, that's your company, right? And I'm like, I mean, I work there.
I
Yeah,
work here. I work here a lot.
yeah. It's my
Yeah,
yeah. If anybody wanted to, if AI wanted to steal my identity, they'd have such an easy time because there's so many videos for the to train on. So
right.
yeah, yep.
And it's interesting because I feel like where I am right now is a fairly new space. Like I started out selling on Etsy,
Hmm.
filling custom orders and doing that. I feel like I do a little bit less of that. I don't really do like one-off orders anymore. The only orders I do
Okay.
now are big orders. I barely have anything on Etsy anymore. So
Yeah,
I have a couple like regular clients that I work with and they're always ordering big orders. So I
I
kind of
love
steer.
big orders.
I love big orders. That's where the money is for me. Like
Yeah,
I'm
my
sorry, I don't want to sell a tumbler anymore. I'm not selling one tumbler. I'm just
yeah,
not.
my favorite thing on the planet is a case of mugs. I
Yes.
love selling mugs by the case. That's like,
It's the
yeah.
best.
It is there because you just especially once you kind of walk into the process, mug 1, 2, and 3, those are whatever. You're like, okay, we're
Right?
doing this.
Okay.
Mugs 4 through 36 or 4 through 72 or whatever multiples of the
Yeah.
case you're on. It's just boom, just a machine. Boom,
Boom, boom,
boom, boom,
boom.
boom.
And if you've
Yeah.
got multiple mug presses, you're knocking them out. It doesn't take that long.
Thank you. Every time our mug presses go on sale, I'm always like, you guys buy two.
Buy two.
It's just so much faster. You cut your time in half.
You do. So
Yeah.
that's I like big orders. So
Hmm.
I still do that. I don't do very many one-offs, but when I went to Italy last year with Caesar, that just kind
Oh,
of
I hate
opened
you,
some
dude.
doors. I know, right?
I
I
love.
know.
Okay, look, I thought I was pals, and I know Patrick is watching this. Pat, you guys messed up, man. You guys didn't take me. Okay, that's all I'm
Take.
gonna say. You guys didn't take me.
But you know what? I
I'm
will
just
have to
like,
point out I won a contest because I don't think a lot of people know that that's how I got to go. Um,
okay, cool, cool.
Caesar
That that that
put
that
out a
eases the pain a
contest.
little bit. That eases
I
the
know
pain
it
a
was.
little bit. Okay.
um, they came out with this contest with like I had worked with them before. I'd done a couple videos, nothing like regular, anything like that. but people they had worked with, affiliates they had worked with in the past, they invited them to participate in this contest. They said it's a 3-month contest. The winner gets a trip for two to Italy for this launch. They didn't even tell us what it was for this launch.
Mm,
And throughout these 3 months, you can post, whatever you want to post, and you get points. Like you would get maybe 5 points for a live, 4 points for a reel, or 1 point for a static
mm,
post. So at that point, this was in December. I told my husband, I'm like, look, we're going to Italy next year. And he was like,
nice.
what? And I'm like, oh, I'm about to win this trip. Like you may not know, but I'm about to win this trip. And he was like, oh, okay, Courtney, all right, like, go ahead and win
Yeah.
that trip. I'm like, you laugh, but you won't be laughing when we're going to Italy. So at that time, I was doing Crafty Tuesday, which is my live crafting session that I do every week. I'm like, okay, every week is going to include a Caesar product. Okay, I'm going to be doing a reel every day because I mean, I already use their products. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to incorporate them into everything I do. So I got a lot of points and then I won.
Nice.
They called me and they're like, yeah, you're the winner. I'm like, what? You got to be kidding me. Yeah, that was amazing. But going to Italy opened up so many doors for me that when I started Etsy shop, never did I ever think, oh, I'm going to be a content creator. I'm going to make videos and work with brands. Never
Yeah.
crossed my mind. I didn't even think that was a possibility I mean, I didn't know crafters did that.
Yeah.
So to have these opportunities pop up now, like brands are asking to work with me, I was like,
That's awesome.
wow, how am I here? I don't even know. It's kind of morphed into something different than what I ever started. And this new component has not even been a year. So it started like after Italy. So it's all new still to me that I'm trying to figure out. Because for me, it's weird to make stuff
Mhm.
just to make it. Like, I'm like, well, what am I going to do with it? Am I selling this? What am I doing?
Yeah.
I just got stuff sitting around my room that I made. I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. I just make stuff for random.
Yeah.
So now I've been giving stuff away to my friends. I'm like, oh yeah, I made this for you. And they're like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, yeah, I had to
Oh
do a
yeah.
video.
Between my brother and Goodwill, like I get so many t-shirts that I'm just like, hey,
Yeah.
my wife's gonna divorce me if I bring home any new t-shirts
Any
without
more?
dumping these ones.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
there's a
me
lot of
it's
stuff.
t-shirts, yeah. The mugs here, it used to be mugs, but like I loaded up my whole family on coffee mugs. And so now they don't want to see another coffee. Like
Right?
there's no more like this Christmas, nobody's getting coffee mugs for a lot of Christmases now. Cause yeah.
They got everything. Yeah.
Yeah. They
So
all
that's
have the
been a
coffee
little
mugs and
weird
the
for me.
tumblers. Yeah.
Yeah, the tumblers. I mean, it's like, what else can I do now? Like to
Yeah.
give to everybody.
All right. So now I have a question. So you like what I'm getting a lot from you is that you love trying different stuff and it's led to some really awesome open doors. So
Yes.
I love that. It's really paid off. That's kind of like my journey here at Heat Press Nation. I started off, I just needed a job. Things were getting serious with my girl. I was like, okay, I was
I need some
freelancing in
money.
I was freelancing in graphic design, which was fun. But like after every date, I was broke again, and I'm like, okay, well,
Mm.
no one's funding a wedding with this. So yeah, so I started here, and then I just kept saying yes to everything. It's kind of a problem for me, for being real,
Yeah.
but like it has led to a lot of opportunities. So I started customer service. Boom, said yes to being tech support, yes to being on camera, yes to giving conferences, yes to doing education and all.
Yeah.
And so now it's like it's led to a really fun and fulfilling job. So I dig it. Now I get to talk to cool people like you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did not want to do a podcast. Like legit.
Really?
We had floated the idea around previously. So this podcast just started in January of this year, 2023. And we had pitched it once before, and I was like,
Yeah, I don't
because
want to do that.
yeah, because I didn't really see myself as like hosting a podcast. But then it came up again, and I was like, you know what? Like so far, saying yes, it's gotten me in a little bit of trouble, but it's gotten me a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
So now I get to talk to cool people like you. I get to like just hear so many amazing experiences, and just have a lot of cool, fun conversations that I would not have had otherwise.
Yeah.
So I'm digging it, man. So you said yes
That's so
to
cool.
a lot of things. You've tried a lot of new things. what is your roster looking like? Like your equipment, like because I know you do sublimation, so you're
Yeah.
sublimating, heat pressing. What's your roster looking like right now as far as equipment's concerned?
Well, let's see. So I've got the cutting machines, so I can still do the vinyl and the print and cut project.
Mm-hmm.
So like with the even the DTV from Caesar, so I
Oh,
use
love
the
that.
cutting machines for that. It's cool. I did a comparison with that versus sublimation and easy subli. So I don't use easy subli as much, but the DTV um, sublimation. I actually use Supercolor
Mm-hmm.
transfers
Yep.
a
Yep.
lot. I am really loving those. Those are great for really big orders. Hat, I've got a hat press, so I'm using the transfers for the hat presses as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of different things that I dabble in, a little of this, a little of that.
So like when someone comes to you and they have like a custom request, like what's your path in like determining like, oh, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that. And if you don't mind, like kind of sharing with our customers, because we have people watching, like they're brand new. They might be having one thing. They might have just a heat press, and hopefully let's kind of give them some insight on like what's your process like in determining I'm going to use this for this and this for that.
And it's really the way I break it down is what is the easiest, what do you want, first of all? What do you
Mm,
want?
okay. Mm-hmm.
What are the colors? How detailed is your design? That's where I start. Um, if it's a big order, I know I don't want to do HTV because I don't want to weed a million things
Yeah.
and take a long time. So I feel like I
Yep.
started out and I did an order. Oh my gosh, Jared, it was like 60 or 70 tote bags and they had multiple colors and
Ugh.
it was awful. And I was
Yeah.
like, why? But I didn't even know about sublimation at the time. Like, I don't even know anybody was doing sublimation at that time. So now that I have that, I'm like, I have to make sure I give my customers what I want them to choose. So let me share a story with you. So I just did
Mhm.
a really big order. It was a family reunion. They wanted towels. I I knew I was going to do sublimation for the towels. Um, I didn't even know if I could do it at first. I told them, hold on, let me just double check. It's make sure I can do it. It was the reason I got the 16 by 24-inch press from you
Oh,
guys
nice. Mm-hmm.
because I had the 15 by 15 and it just wasn't big enough for the towels. So I got the 16 by 24. So I work with a travel agent. She wants to give towels to all her clients. So I knew I'd be using it a lot. So I got the 16 by 24. I knew I was doing sublimation for the towels for them. They wanted t-shirts as well. I did Supercolor for that. They also
Yes.
wanted backpacks, so like the little subli linen backpacks. I sublimated those. All is good. They wanted tumblers. Their colors were blue, so they had blue towels, they had blue t-shirts. Backpacks were like linen color, like a white color with blue, and they wanted blue tumblers. What I wasn't thinking was I showed them here's an option for blue tumblers. I can't sublimate blue tumblers. I just
Mm.
wasn't really thinking it all the way through. So I had to do vinyl on these tumblers. There were 50 tumblers
Mm.
that I had to do vinyl for. So I tried to
Yep.
backtrack and I was like, hey, I have these white tumblers and I can put the blue writing on them and they're going to be great because I was like, I can sublimate them. And they were like, no, we really like the blue ones. And I was like, oh my
Yep.
gosh, why did I give you that option? So if you're watching this, before you give your customers options of, things that you can make for them, think really about the process that you're going to use to make it and make sure that that's what you want to use. Because to be honest, I hate doing vinyl on tumblers. I don't even know why I offered it. I mean, they did match their towels perfectly. They did match
Yeah.
everything perfectly. And I think that's why I threw it out there to start with because they were perfect. But it could have been perfect with white and blue lettering also. And it cut so much time out for me. But afterwards, like that's what I know. But I feel like I learned from that. Make sure you offer your customers what you really want to make them. Like because they don't
Yeah.
know the options. They wouldn't even have known that was an option if I had said, "Hey, here's this blue tumbler with
Yes.
or blue writing." So, or white tumbler with blue writing. So,
Yeah.
I think
That's. Oh, I'm
I don't
sorry.
know.
Sorry. Go ahead. No,
No,
that's
it's
such a good
just
point. Sorry, it's
Go ahead.
it's the internet.
Go ahead.
It's the internet.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point because a lot of times my customers, because I still do sales, right? So I'm still talking to customers, helping them get into the right equipment here at Heat Press Nation. And a lot of times it comes down to, well, but what about this versus this? How does it feel? And I'm like, and I'll be honest, like, okay, yeah, well, this feels like this feels like that. But then I'll tell them, but your customers will never know the difference because they're not going to compare one in front of the other. Me, you ask me, I could tell you because I've done it all. I've done everything here at Heat Press Nation. So I know, you might know, but your customers will not know. And so it's such a good point that you're saying is like, hey, like, you know what you can offer. And so, you know, you got to kind of just steer them towards where you can excel because,
Yeah.
you know, I remember my brother, you know, me and I have three brothers. We're all musicians. Us younger three, we're in a band together. The older one, he's too cool for us.
Okay.
No. He's just a little bit older. But I remember he told us we started putting out music and we were dumb and recording it ourselves and, you know, whatever. Right. And he told us, he goes, hey guys, cool that you're doing this yourselves. But, remember your work does not come with a disclaimer. When people hear your song, there's not going to be a little disclaimer at the end that says, hey, by the way, we're just kids and we recorded this in our home studio. But like, it doesn't come with that. People, when they get and so that always stuck with me. And so now when I'm making a t-shirt, when I'm making a tumbler, like I have to remember, like, there's no disclaimer at the bottom that says, I did this with my little silhouette cameo at home and boo, 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 boo. Like there's no disclaimer. So you have to kill it on each and every job. And if you can't kill it, don't offer it to your customers.
Don't offer it. I mean, even if you can kill it though, if you're going to kill it and it's going to take you triple the amount of time to do it than another method, like, yeah, those tumblers turned out good, but they took me way, way longer than it would have with sublimation. So,
oh, that's such a good point.
I just feel like, yeah, you can do it, but do you want to do it? And I feel like at this point in my career, I really, I say no to some things because I don't want to do it. Like I don't really enjoy, doing big orders with vinyl. So if you want this dark colored t-shirt, these are the options for this dark. I don't know.
Can you share how do you say no to customers? Because that's a lot of people, myself included. I have a hard time saying no. I'm a yes guy, right?
Yeah.
How do you say no to customers?
I feel like, let's see, like a customer asked me a few weeks ago. They wanted t-shirts for, what did they want? They were going to Legoland and they wanted trademark stuff. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but I can't, I just can't make that for you. And they were like, oh, well, so-and-so, they told me that they had found another place that could make them. And I'm like, that is awesome. Like, you should go there and have them made there because I can't make those things. And I just don't. So definitely trademark is easy just because you're like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not going to do a Legoland shirt for your Disney shirt for you. I'm just not, I don't know how other people are doing it, but that's not my problem. Like, I'm not going to do it. And I don't know. I don't find it that hard anymore to say no. Like I'm sorry. Like I don't do that method, or that I don't have the equipment for that, or just something along those lines. I don't usually say I don't want to do your order, but I just say I don't have what it takes to make that order.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, because I find myself like struggling for an answer. Like, and then we had a guest, his episode, I'm not sure when it'll be up. We had a guest the other day, and he said that's why he likes communicating with his customers through text. Because it gives him time to like, okay, how am I gonna say this? Okay, there we go. And and he'll go like that. Which to me that makes a lot of sense, because if you catch me on the phone, I'll be like, if I don't want to do something, I'll be like, why don't I? So maybe we should all just switch to text, or all of us not good talkers switch to text, or slow thinkers, because like I talk good, but I'm like, wait, but why?
But why can't I? Or I just say I don't do that anymore. I've told some people that as well. Like I just don't do that anymore. Like I'm past. Yeah.
All right, so Courtney, I feel like you've been able to accomplish so much, and I really appreciate your transparency, all the ins and outs, all the pros and cons, everything that you've kind of been through on this journey. So for people out there, they're seeing you and they are like, yes, I want to do that. What advice would you have for them? Maybe there's somebody out there who, like you, they're like, they're doing, maybe they're not doing, personal training, but they're in their own version of that where, yeah, it's working. They're not totally happy. Like, what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe wanted to make a switch? Maybe that switch is heat pressing or sublimation. What advice do you have for them?
I think my first piece of advice would be just do it. Like, even if you're
Mhm.
scared, do it anyway, because you're never going to know if you don't try. So you got to try it and see if it's going to work out. So I think that's my first piece of advice. Second is get the bigger machine. Like, if you're starting out and you're like, oh, I don't want to spend that extra $200 on that machine, I should just get this little one. Just know that you're going to get that big one in a few months. So you may as well just get the big one
Yeah.
now. I
Yeah.
started out, I got the small, I was trying to save money on everything. And I'm like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. And then I ended up having two of so many things because I ended up getting the bigger one a year later. So I'm like,
Yeah.
just spend that extra money. It's a business expense. Just spend the extra money and get the better thing. I think that you will like that. And just keep trying. Like, you're going to have some days where it
Yep.
is terrible. Like, your social media posts are terrible. Everything goes wrong with your projects that day. It's just a bad day. It seems like you're not doing what you should be doing. Keep on going. Like, the next day is going to be better. Or maybe not the next day, maybe the next week. So, I mean, you don't know. You have to keep trying. There have been so many ups and downs, and I'm
Mhm.
telling you, tears. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is not going to work out. This is so slow. I'm putting in all these hours and doing all this work, and nothing is happening. Like, there's days where there's no sales. Like, it's just keep going. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like I have come so far in these last 4 years just because I didn't stop. I just kept going. So I think those are my three things. Get the bigger machine, keep going, and just do it.
I love it. That's such good advice. And I know that there's people out there watching that they're going to take that to heart. And I want to hear their stories. I know there's some, I can almost guarantee somebody watching today, they're going to be on the podcast next year. So
Yep.
yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for taking the time, for sharing your story. Where can everybody find you? Maybe they want to order some stuff. They want to follow you on social. Go ahead and plug your stuff.
Cool. So you can find me all the time on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. TikTok doesn't like me as much as the other places, but I'm still on there. I'm still trucking along,
Yeah.
trying. Um, and really, I just came out. I got into the digital market realm this year, and I've got two products that, if you're starting out, are super helpful. One is that started out for me. It's called the Crafty Profit Projector, and it's basically trying to get a real actual cost of your product so that when you
Oh,
go
very
to
cool.
price it, you know that you are making money. Because I feel like when I started out a little bit, I wasn't really making money. I'm like, oh, I got this
Mhm.
thing for $3. I'm going to
Yep.
sell it for 5, and I'm making $2. And it's like, what about the vinyl? What about the package that you sent it in? What about the tissue paper, the cute little tissue paper that you put in there? You actually made nothing. You actually
It took
lost money because it was over
yeah,
5. Like,
and it took you an hour to make, so you made
and it
negative
took
two
you an
dollars
hour.
an hour.
You made
Yeah.
it negative $2 an hour. So the Crafty Profit Protector puts all of that in. The formulas are locked in, so you can't mess any of the formulas up, and it automatically calculates your profit margin based on what you put in for the cost of your equipment and your materials. So the Crafty Profit Projector, and then how to market your business through photos and videos with just your iPhone. Because I feel like a lot of people
Mhm.
think
Oh, it's so good.
that you have to have all this expensive equipment to make it on social media. And I'm just here to show you that I'm using an iPhone. I don't even have a camera. I probably will upgrade to one eventually, but at this point, I've never used an expensive camera. I'm just going to show you because I think people don't even get
Please
it.
do.
Like,
Yeah.
people don't even understand what you can do. These are backdrops that I've made. I didn't have a nice kitchen
Those are
when I
legit.
Oh my gosh, like, let me show you my kitchen setup that I used to use in my pictures. Here's my marble
Ah, that's your
countertop,
kitchen.
and here's my tile backdrop. And then I would put my mugs on here. I'd put them next to a plant. And there we have a backdrop. So I feel like in
That's so good.
my ebook, I share tips and tricks that I've learned along the way on how to make your photos and videos better and
Mhm.
just how you can do that. So those are the things that I'm doing right now. I feel like I'm being called to help other small business owners because I've been through a lot. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. So it's been
And
really cool.
and where can they find that at?
They can find it at thecraftybrick.com and
Got it.
it's under business products. So
Very
that's
cool.
on my website. So yeah, you can
Man,
catch me everywhere.
there we go. You guys heard it there. Head on over to thecraftybrick.com. Check out all her links. And yeah, Courtney, man, once again, thank you so much for taking the time, for sharing all this like super deep wealth of knowledge with us. And ladies and gentlemen, that's been Courtney from the Crafty Brick. My name is Jared Barbosa, your host, and this has been Customizing Culture, the Heat Press Nation podcast. We'll see you all around.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Bye, Jared.
See ya.